Thanks for tuning in to the Diaphragm Dynasty. I'm back with another controversial R&B topic. Now, today I will be discussing between two great female vocalists, two great female legends in the game, and basically, doing a friendly comparison or friendly contrast of these artists and deciding which artist is the best artist of the two. Now, the two that I'm picking are pretty much in the same vocal range, so to speak, very close, very similar. But I'm trying to see who was the better artist or who had the better impact. Now, impact is based off not sales, it's not about popularity, but what have you done for the culture? What have you left in your legacy, so to speak? And these two artists, of course, is Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey. Now, both these artists are great. They're legends. They're in the Hall of Fame of all time of music, not just R&B, but in pop as well. Whatever genre you want to put them in that requires singing, they can be in those top greats. But it's a totally subjective question of preference mostly, or really, it's not really preference, but it's what you can prove. Similar to the court process, is what you can prove of who had the more impact, and I'll break those down. They both have great range. Both have made their name in R&B and pop as well. Of course, Whitney started off in the church. Um, Heavily influential artists that have created a legacy behind them of great artists behind them that who all have taken from their DNA and pedigree. So they both are influential, but who is the most influential? Now now we don't need to talk about singing ability because when it comes to range, no one really has the range of a Mariah Carey as she has the whistle register. Mariah Carey, um, her vocal range is insane. So of course she would get the nod in that department because like like having that range is just unheard of. It's not too many artists that have it. There's probably only maybe three or four noticeable artists to ever do what they're doing to actually have that. So that's a different story, of course. And Whitney Houston's no slouch on the range as well. We know that "I Will Always Love You" song. She showed that range, an incredible range that she had. She just doesn't have quite the range that a Mariah Carey has. Um, but it's about more than range and just sheer vocal skills. What songs have you put out with impact for the culture and for people that's behind you? Songs that still exist today, songs that would not exist if R&B didn't have these songs. What would the genre be without them? And we'll talk about that right now about the impact and influence because they both have hits, but I think Whitney is just on a different level. So when you think about Whitney Houston's discography, uh, she's had about a 10-year head start over Mariah Carey, of course, started off in a different era. Um, but she has ballads. Whitney Houston has ballads that will stand the test of time. Now, these ballads is like I talked about before, "I Will Always Love You." The Exhale soundtrack just by itself is very impactful than any art that Mariah Carey was able to put out there. And Mariah Carey has put out some great art. Um, Even you'll see it every year, even when she sings the Christmas ballad, "All I Want for Christmas Is You." That will stand the test of time. One of the greatest, song covers of Christmas songs that we heard of all time, because we know she makes an exorbitant amount of money every year off that song alone. So she does have a lot of relatability. Well, not relatability. I want to say she has a lot of cachet in the game and a lot of replay value off of that song just alone. And that's pretty much what her legacy is right now. But, back in the 90s and early 2000s, she was one of the tops. But Whitney Houston's legacy, unfortunately she passed. Rest in peace to Whitney Houston. But her contributions are endless, especially with the two soundtracks she's put out with The Bodyguard and with Waiting to Exhale. Those various songs that she put on those albums just will stand the test of time because there will always be heartbreak, there will always be love, and she has those songs to the T. And then being tied to those soundtracks alone created a new legacy for her that most people don't have. And we know that Waiting to Exhale soundtrack is regarded as one of the best R&B soundtracks of all time, or just R&B albums of all time. Period. If you want to put it up there, and she contributed to about 3 or 4 songs on that soundtrack alone. But she's also had empowerment songs like "I'm Every Woman," "My Love Is Your Love." So she has these empowerment woman songs that we still hear today, and that "I'm Every Woman" song is used in various arenas, whether it be the WNBA or women's award shows and things like that. It's a very empowering song for the women that even men sing sometimes, which is, a testament to how powerful the song is and the impact that she's had on the genre. Now, Mariah does have impact on the genre, and for some reason, she's a little bit underrated than other R&B artists, despite her talent and ability of the hits that she's put together. One of my favorite songs from her is "My All." It's one of the most difficult songs that you can sing. Definitely one of the most difficult songs to mimic in that regard. So, her ability and her contributions are great. It's very great, but it's different when you have an impact like she has. It's similar to the hip hop debate. Drake has made a lot of great music, but he doesn't have the impact that a Kendrick Lamar has to be able to go into depths and make people feel like they can do something that they can't do. It's similar to basketball, even. The point guard who can score and pass the basketball does a lot more because he can help others feel better than they are. But and I think Whitney Houston does that a great deal with her music. She empowers other people as well as being able to sonically sound so great. Just having those cultural impact songs that Mariah Carey just really doesn't have, which, is not a knock on her, but it's just a different level of greatness that Whitney has because her cultural impact. Um, but I still have Mariah Carey in my top 5 vocalists, along with Whitney Houston as a top 5 vocalist in R&B and singing history. But like I said, when it comes to impact, influence, and iconic moments, Whitney definitely gets the nod in that regard. So tell me who you think is the better artist or had the more impact when it comes to Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston. And as always, until next time, I'll see you next time.